Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. Um, that's not true. That was a lie. How are y'all doing? I'm Cameron, and Corey is joining me via Discord.
It me, Corey, via Discord, coming at you live.
In all 3Ds. Uh, yeah, we're going to hopefully finish in Other Waters today, and I am really, really, really enjoying this game.
I didn't see what happened last week.
Uh,
Like,
I mainly just filled in all of the blanks in our Pokedex.
so did you go back to that facility down
We
in the deep, deep?
We did. We went back to the arcology and we found that oh god, what did we find? It was a mystery. We found that that is where we were created, and that the researcher who made us, the dive suits AI, we aren't really a dive suit AI. We're something else. But the same person who made it was also the mother of the scientist that our current inhabitant is searching for. Because
Oh,
I can't do names, so we're actually sisters.
well, we're not really searching
Yeah,
anymore
no, it's
because
true.
she's
We found
currently
her.
like exploding in the med bay.
It's true. She's germinating.
Becoming more than human.
Yeah, like that song. Anyway, shall we play?
Heck yeah.
All right, let's do it. Which button do I? Play. But we can capture our best gaming moments.
Hot damn.
I'll have to try to have a good gaming moment.
Well, I don't know if there are any.
True. All right. So, if you're not familiar with In Other Waters, it is a game in which we are a artificial intelligence who is currently uh, part of a dive suit that is being worn by a scientist who is investigating the ocean world of Gliesa 667cc, and it's getting getting real out here. One of the things that I really appreciate in this game is that our scientist says that her job is usually just certifying exoplanets as being completely devoid of life and therefore okay to strip mine.
Yes.
Because there have been humanity has found no extraterrestrial life anywhere in the galaxy.
But then
Uh,
we get here, and there's extraterrestrial life, and there's an entire arcology with like the same branding as what our scientist mission has. So like people have known,
yes, and like
assuming that messages got out.
not just like unicellular life, right? This isn't just like blue-green algae. This is a enormous ocean ecosystem with like megafauna and stuff. And
And I
yes,
really like that we get to explore it at different depths.
mm,
Like we see all the glowy, stringy things down at the bottom, but also all of the nice, cute fish up at the top.
yeah, exactly. There's the hideous stinging jellyfish sheets, and then there's also like, clownfish analogs and coral. And here's this this is oh, what's her name? Oh god, I've forgotten her name.
Minave?
Minay. Yeah, Minay.
Minay, yeah.
Uh, this is all her currently. And Ellery is, she's broken quarantine. Our scientist has broken quarantine to go and hang out with Minay because they were involved at one point on a previous planet like this. Um, but she's mysterious to us. Ellery is a cipher to us. We read her logs, we read all of her journals and like her notebooks, but we have no insight into like what she's feeling other than what she tells us.
Yeah, she's been very focused, and it's usually just like the small interactions like, oh, hey, a new fish. Maybe we should capture it. I wonder what people were doing out here.
Yep. Yeah, like, very rarely she will talk to us. And I'm wondering if there's like I wonder if there's like a path through the game where she's more talkative. But um we also have like other secondary indicators to her mood when she's wearing the suit because like we monitor her breathing, right? Um but let's have a look here. So, laboratory, taxonomy. And last week I filled in so many of these. I love the name Slow Mason.
Yes. Do you have a sketch of them?
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah. They these were found in the arcology on the walls. They just kind of crawl along the walls, leaving behind these patterns. And Ellery thinks they may be a form of language. But like, look at all of this. This is wonderful.
Cold fire bathers.
Yeah. Um, these guys from like the bottom of the ocean. But let's see what we have to do. Dive map. Where's our next point? So we have examined like the brine pools, the arcology, the deep ocean sites, or the dusk slopes, I guess they're called. We've gotten basically everything from the East Reef, the Central Reef, and the Bloom. However, we do have one more sample we can get from the Bloom, but there are, from the arcology, we got a lead on 2 other bical facilities on the planet. One is out in the Bloom, and one is out in the East Reef. And one of the things that we did get from doing all of our taxonomy was an indication that the Bloom is not an indigenous life form to this planet. That everything in the reef is reacting extremely with it the Bloom is recent and it's expanding, and everything in the reef is kind of like dropping whatever it would otherwise be doing, all of its reef business, to work out biological countermeasures to the Bloom.
Right, because it creates a toxic environment in the ocean.
Yeah. So we don't know where it's from, but it doesn't seem to be from around this environment. Whether it's an invasive species from another biome, or whether it's something that Baikal brought with it, or whether it's something that they engineered. Who knows? But what do you think? East Reef or to the facility in the Bloom?
It looks like East would be easier to get to.
Well, let's start then. Last week, or maybe it was the week before, I had the idea that this game felt a lot like an old text adventure, kind of like Zork or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where you would be in a central location and it would say, you can move northeast or southwest. And then you could, it would give you a description of those environments. To the northeast, you see a split out crop. To the southwest, you see a central clearing.
Yeah, it's a really good example of like a data model and then visualizing, because it is the same thing.
Right.
As Zork. There are these nodes, these rooms that have descriptions, and you're traveling between them. But we get this overhead view.
I like it. Ooh, we can take a sample here. What are you? A soothe spore. Well, that might be handy. Also, just kind of generally replenishes all of our systems. Strong current.
So we gotta fire up our jets.
Yep. All right. Priming. Activate turbo boosters. What's that? What's that? There's a thing out here. Long pale green strands of plant matter, entwined in flat blades which trail horizontally between the pillars. Yes, Dr. Vass. No, no, please. Please. Please, must go. Must go. Running out of turbo booster. There we go.
Safe.
Yeah, they're like these silken strands meet in places and become tangled in one another, forming complex webs that are slow to navigate.
But are they like webs between the pillars?
They seem to be. What do we got over here? Patterns of dents in the sand show the paths of the feathery creatures that cross from pillar to pillar in slow and purposeful loops. Oh, they're like earth spiders. In the sunlight, these spade-like petals open themselves wide to the light, welcoming it gratefully. Well, let's see if there's anything here we can kidnap. Animal
No, we're like
tissue.
blathers. We're like, we'll take good care of you, even though you're disgusting.
Yep. It is part of our mission. Blathers is very brave. I would just like to point this out. I suppose I should have scanned there. What if there was something else? Bright pollen? Oh, okay. Well, we'll grab one of you. I don't even remember what you do. These trailing plants can be of great length and appear to only grow from the sides of the pillars. How did they form? Good question. Sorry, I just want to go back to this node and scan it. Ahoy hoy. The gaps between the tendrils are webbed with fine strands almost invisible to the naked eye. Something moving. A cleverly camouflaged creature mainly composed of feathery frond-like arms which waves rhythmically as it moves. These funny feathery creatures are all around these gardens. Let's start observing their movements.
Yes.
Spider in the web. Well, I mean, we're here. We might as well have a look around. The environment seems to be a lot calmer here. The individual thin fibrous strands which make up these pillar bridges are so fine they could almost be silk. Some of these pillar tops are very small, but that doesn't seem to stop the petals from colonizing them with their bright shapes. Thingy! Observing the underside of these plants, I can see layers of pores, stomata perhaps, for waste release. Oh, it's coming to say hello. Hello. It appears that a number of the creature's feathery arms have sharp edges that it uses to prune the pillar garden's flora. I have observed these plants in shades which stretch from bright green to ivory white. Is this an indicator of their age or health? I've noticed these strands don't connect directly to the pillars but disappear into holes in their sides. What are they connected to then? Oh, there's something to collect up there. Well, let's get sample.
Kind of feels like the rope bridges are blocking the current.
Yeah, that seems correct to me. Like creating this micro habitat. Or not even micro habitat, but like a habitat. There, brain, we got there. More things to kidnap. Oh, it's just bright pollen. Long strands of pale green and white plant matter that twist into broad, flat bridges and webs between the pillar gardens. I've named this sea silk, though I'm not sure what kind of plant it is. I'll check my notes back at base. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I need to click on all of these, otherwise they don't appear. Hmm. Hmm. Can we move through them? Yeah, we can move across them easily enough.
And they don't sting us like the jellies.
Yeah. Hate those jellies.
Ooh, a shed feather.
Yeah. I wish my shed had feathers. Too small to enter. This hole in the pillar leads deep into the rock. A tall piece left by the inhabitant sits just inside. You could sample it. What are you, a soothe spore? Yeet!
You could fill up your meters with it.
I suppose I could have.
I think you
But
still have it, so
oh, I
you didn't
do,
even
don't
lose
I?
it.
Corey, using your brain. Sample taken. Hmm.
I think the Baikal thing is northeast.
It is. I'm just curious about this place. I suppose we could go to Baikal. More bright pollen. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, what are these things camouflaging themselves from? Camouflage implies something, and I can't quite put my finger on it. I'm sure
Maybe
it's
they're
not.
an ambush predator.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I mean, anything out here that could eat them. I mean, that would have to be big.
Ha 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 ha.
I don't know what would eat giant spiders.
Well, we do.
Yeah, but
It's
we call
us.
them
We're the
crabs.
monster.
We call them crab.
We soak them in butter.
Turns out anything's delicious when you dip it in butter. These creatures are tricky to catch a glimpse of. Let's see if we can scare up a few more. I don't like scaring them, Dr. Vass. When disturbed, the segmented creature shot out of its burrow, ejecting grit and sediment as it swam away. Quite the surprise. Oh, there's another one. There he goes. Look at him scooch. It seems that if they're knocked off a surface, these creatures can swim, but very inefficiently. Must be an emergency measure. These were just more bright pollen. What are you? It's apparent that matter from the bloom, such as pollen, collects in this creature's feathery arms. Is this intentional? Oh my god, are they water bees?
Yes!
They're water bees!
Ah! Ah!
This patch of water is entirely enclosed by webbed tendrils, and thin strands float through the water like lost hairs. Well, let's go and look.
This ocean is full of hair.
Oh, why?
Ew, tendril holes. That's even worse.
Okay. Well, let's... Wow, we can sample all of these. What are you? Silken strands.
Some of that sea hair.
Yeah, everybody needs sea hair. What are you? A gardener. A feathered, slow-moving creature that prunes the plants of the pillar gardens, moving between pillars along their silken bridges. I'm calling these gardeners. They are so attentive and personal. I want to know more about them. Very well, Dr. Vass. The gaps between the pillars are a pattern I cannot read, one that speaks of a complex geological history. What are you? Question mark.
Oh,
What are
great
you?
mystery of life.
Shrill sack.
Get in the sea.
Get it into the sea. Alright, it is some kind of animal shell. More things. These creatures scrape away at the pillar surface, carving their burrows into the rock. It is impressive given the density of the pillars. More chitin shells. Lots of pollen. You know what? I'm gonna call for pickup.
So you can go offload?
Yeah. Apparently we just found a rainforest, so...
Cure for cancer could be in there.
Indubitably. We're all gonna be rich. Alright. Everyone get into the blender. What do we got? What are you? Chitin plate. Left behind by a segmented worm. No relevant taxonomy entries found. A delicate feather structure found in the pillar gardens. Gardener taxonomy. I guess we haven't completed observing the worms yet.
Yeah.
Sea silk taxonomy updated.
Huh?
Okay, so there are two things that we have yet to fully investigate.
Gotta
Shed
go out.
tail.
Ew.
Bristle carriers. Gardeners. Gardeners are feathery, slow-moving creatures that live among the pillar garden flora. Their upper part is mainly composed of densely packed fern-like arms. Underneath is a body resting on a dense profusion of short, root-like legs that anchor the gardener, but also enable it to walk, albeit very slowly. As gardeners move, they also rhythmically wave their arms, though it is unclear if this is for balance or is part of their pruning action within the petal gardens they inhabit. Gardeners don't do anything fast, but they do travel between pillars using the silken tendrils that grow between them. More analysis is needed to discern why and what their relationship to these gardens really is. Analysis of a gardener's feather, which I've called a pinule, has revealed the gardeners feed on the same thing they camouflage themselves as, the garden's petals. The gardener feather pinnules have a razor-like edge with which the gardener cuts away thin sections of petal to feed on without damaging the plant. However, unlike an actual feather, they contain nerves, suggesting the crawler can deliberately control them, then for precise pruning and for maneuvering in the water if they become dislodged from a tendril bridge. Quite why they risk such journeys, given their ineffective swimming, remains to be seen. Further study may unlock the puzzle of their purpose within the biome. The bright green plant stretches its silken tendrils in long horizontal swaths between pillars in the east reef. This plant is characterized by its fibrous, fine, and flexible strands that can be as thick as rope and thin as human hair, appearing almost white in sunlight. How they form their bridges and why the plant's tendrils do not rise to the surface is unclear. I've observed one plant intertwined with strands from other pillars, and when these multiple strands meet, often in areas roughly equidistant from their respective pillars. They seem to form a web. I wonder if strands from an individual plant are drawn to one another. Analysis of a strand of sea silk has shown that it is in fact from two different plants, that have somehow conjoined where they meet. Moreover, there are younger growths formed near to the end of each plant strand, demonstrating their ability to form new shoots along their length, which must be why I've observed a web-like pattern in some of the tangles. However, new growths require a good deal of energy. The strands are green on one side, a sign of photosynthesis, no doubt, but their underside is distinctly darker and more porous looking. Are the strands able to absorb matter floating up from underneath them? I need to analyze a root structure or similar to find out more. Oh, we have to go inside.
Oh.
Gardener.
Gotta steal one of their arms.
Oh.
Gotta disarm a gardener.
But they seem to need them.
Maybe they should have camouflaged themselves better.
Ha! Stupid gardeners. And a 1, and a 2, and a... vroom.
So fast.
Like Vrum. Okay, let's see what we can find out here. They wanted more things from the south.
Yes.
And we also need to find, oh, it's just bright pollen up here. A calming sanctuary. Well, that sounds nice. What are you? More bright pollen.
Ah.
Boo! Boo to bright pollen. One final bridge stretches down to the southernmost pillar, its strands swaying with rising current. Intriguing. Oh, wait. I'll just flag this one as well while we're here. Oh, we could sample it. A tendril.
Yeah.
Scannywans? Nope. This is the end of the forest. Or of the garden. Despite being so thick, this pillar is cut through with small holes, and on top, a couple of shell plates catch the light. Oh, we spooked it. Oh no.
Aww.
More chitin plates. These small young petals are starting to open up to the three suns of Gliese 667cc. This place will be even more beautiful one day. Not if we kidnap everything.
Just gonna denude the ocean.
And then we'll put it in a box. And we'll put that box in a box. And then we'll put that box in a Nobel Prize. Okay, looks like we're getting there.
I have a question, because it mentioned green for like chlorophyll production, but if Gliese has like 3 suns, if they're not the same color as ours, Would green be how you do photosynthesis?
I think so. Like, chlorophyll is. I don't know how efficiently chlorophyll matches to our sun's wavelength. Right? Because there's multiple factors, right? It's not just the color and the brightness of the sun, it's the composition of the atmosphere that'll give you a window where light will that won't filter out light. Right? Um because our atmosphere filters out a lot of wavelengths of light.
Yeah, which is why we get so much blue.
Yeah. Like, I would need to figure out, you could probably look up which wavelength, because I am assuming chlorophyll picks out like one specific wavelength that its structure is able to like act as an antenna for.
I just felt like it was a weird thing to assume.
Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid. Gaia-centric thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so it absorbs wavelengths of 430 nanometers and 662 nanometers. Goodbye, pillar worm. There, we got a glimpse of it as it flew away. Only these pillar worms, they seem to have burrows all over the place. They burrow into the rocks to protect themselves from space assholes who would kidnap them.
It's working so far.
All right, let's see if we can hit the or find the Baikal installation. The reforms do not like us.
It's us with our little grabby hands roaming
Yeah.
over their houses.
Just rummaging in there and being like, hey, pieces of them.
Yeah, I found this detached tail.
We know that they drop these when they're scared. The green tendrils don't seem to reach east beyond this point, preferring to turn back into the protected waters south of here. The green tendrils that enclose the space seem to calm the current, creating a pool of still water.
What do you want to bet we have to go to the farthest point?
Everything. I would bet everything that we do. Between the pillars, bright green webs of twisted tendrils extend, forming thin pathways from garden to garden. Well, let's get it. Let's get out there. What are you? Out away from the pillars, the ocean grants a sense of vertigo, fading down into the unknown depths below. Well, luckily for us, we can just go there because we sink. This pillar, unlike the others, lacks a garden of its own. Have the plants been cleared, or have they simply not reached this far yet?
Perhaps they were all kidnapped.
What kind of monster? The light of the system's 3 suns falls onto something amber and huge to the east. It is almost like a pale orange cloud. Well, let's go have a look at that. Oh!
It's emitting.
This translucent tentacle doesn't have a fixed shape. Its individual parts instead cycle through development phases as they cohere.
Try not to touch it. Try not to touch it.
These golden yellow streams of life shift around solid objects, held suspended in the water. Are they bones? This creature is impossibly large. I don't even know how to start logging data on it, but I'll try. Are these bones, rocks, or something else? Oh, it's weird. Wait. What are we looking at here? This appears to be a huge colonial life form. Is this what remains of the Site 1 facility? Let's cut her open. With pleasure. This golden colony is overwhelming. Where to even begin? Thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of zooids make up its shifting interior. It seems that the zooids are split into specialized functions and forms, from jellyfish-like medusoids to balloon-like bladders of gas. Behind the barrier, the throbbing interior of the colony is revealed, filled with throngs of zooids acting as one. Ew. I've never seen a colonial creature of this scale or complexity. Can it really be a single unified creature made of ever-shifting processes? Beneath the translucent webs of spherical growths, half-digested walls sit suspended like an exploding room, frozen in time. The vague shape of the facility's walls is preserved by the colony, spaces between filled with shifting swarms of life. Have we just voluntarily been eaten by this thing?
We've gone inside. It's like there was a cavern with really sharp points, and we just walked right in.
I mean,
Parked the Millennium Falcon in there.
we had
Now we
to
have to
torch
deal
our
with
way
these-
through, right? Like, we did cut a hole through its front teeth.
That's an image.
The interior of this creature is like a golden bubble, the light trapped and refracted by hundreds of pearly orbs strung together. Between the ragged parts of the facility stretch looping bridges, pumping liquid back and forth from the heart of the colony. This colony breaks the surface 20 meters above. It must be floating on the surface, its body descending in layers like a living iceberg. Gross. Oceans are gross.
It's like a big pile of floaty eggs.
Ugh. Oh, look.
Ooh.
Audio logs. S. Emerson. Constantine is too arrogant. Just because he discovered the artificers doesn't mean he can decide their fate.
Pardon?
Oh, yeah, the artificers. The, little, like, shells that we found. Don't know what those are yet. But we're made out of them. Like us. That they form our shell.
Oh.
I
Okay.
forgot to mention that. Sorry. Sam, he wants to free them. And what do the artificers want, Hannah? Has anyone asked them? The walls are a flowing mass of tentacles. Some have broken away and are floating freely in the water. We might be able to extract them. Oh, Dr. Vass, why?
They might be delicious. You don't know.
Tiny medusoid creatures are budding from the walls here, splitting off from luminous stems to join the flow.
Medusoids are extremely cursed. Beautiful, but so cursed.
Medusoids are the, I always get them confused with the Hydra form. Medusoids are like the ones that, like, sit on things.
It's
Or
just
the-
jellyfish.
Okay. Okay, right.
It's just that specific animal type. But yeah, they have like the 30 phases of their life.
Yeah.
Some of them are like little stalks that have little layers in them. Some of them like just kind of pop off and float around for a bit. And then some of them land on the ground again and then revert to a younger stage.
Right. I mean, respect. Rattus colony, a vast colonial creature made of thousands of specialized zooids. It floats freely in the ocean, its upper section breaking the ocean's surface. I'll call this colony Rattus. It floats beautifully across the ocean like some... Goodbye.
Like a big colony of rats.
Yeah, like
all joined together, swimming on the surface of the ocean, so none of them drown completely.
Yeah, rolling, right?
Yeah.
So that every 90 seconds they get a breath.
Yeah. Or it's like that caterpillar conveyor, so it's like they actually are moving much faster than they appear.
Eaten away on one side, the remains of this lab are like an open set, a staging ground for the colony's process of sublimation. Why would the colony preserve the rooms of the facility as it consumes them? What bizarre processes are in action here? I mean, this is really cool. Right, it's gross, but this is cool. The hollow structures of the colony allows water to flow through its core, creating both bulbous corridors and open halls. The central laboratory is almost complete apart from the large tree-like growths cutting through its walls. Ooh, thingy. We can't let this continue. We never intended this. That thing they are building. I know. What thing are they building?
It's the fungus theme park. And it was a bad idea. Very catchy music, though.
So far. It was a bad idea so far. But once our stalk splits, dappled light fills the chamber, passing through its complex branching strands, orbited by swarms of zooids. Constantine has already left for Site 2. If the facility fails and Site 3 is breached, the oceanic mine can be stopped. Sorry, what?
Uh-huh.
This looks like a biologist's laboratory. It must have been the first exploratory base on the planet. They discovered the artificers. They started all of this. These were scientists like me, employed by Baikal to study this place. How did it end like this? The mines they were building in the arcology, the genetic research they were doing here. They were all working towards something bigger than just one lab. How could they have let this happen? Our first contact turned into a resource grab. Scan all you can, then let's leave this place. I'll review everything back at the base. It won't be long before the colony eats this place away once and for all.
That's it.
Okay. Oceanic Mind, huh?
Uh-huh.
That sounds expensive. This piece of the lab floats on gas-filled bladder zooids, keeping it buoyant. Some float in the open water, the perfect sample candidates. We can kidnap them.
Gonna steal all these swim bladders.
What are they filled with? Well, as it turns out, bladder was not really an inappropriate term.
Gonna head back to base. Inventory full of bladders, just absolutely twisted.
Oh god. Me waking up in the morning discovering that I've bought so many bladders. What's out here? The ocean stretches east from here, a blue desert beneath 3 suns. What might lie out there beyond the range of this suit? Impossible to know. We have so many bladders they can hear us sloshing for miles. Ooh, audio log. That is absurd, Kevin. They are no different to us, adapting their environment so they may survive. No, they're not us. More gas bladders holding the remains of the lab in place like the pieces of a torn map hinting at the history of a long-ruined structure. What is? More bladders? No.
Ooh.
Mysterious. I guess these are bladders, but they're handy bladders. Audio log. Audio log. My coffee is not over here. I put it over here. The artificers are gardeners, not colonizers. They rewrite genetic code to develop mutualism, to foster life. Buh? A fragment of a room eaten away into some strange sculpture, hanging in the blue. It's hard to imagine what this place once was. Each zooid has a function within the colony. There flow back and forth evidence of some complex process that is impossible to parse. Okay. Looks like we're back at the start. We're near the start. Yeah, this is where we split off originally. We could have gone north or south from the door here.
Yeah. Here's the hole we made.
Yep. The one we torched through its front teeth. Alright, calling for pickup and getting the hell out of here. So many bladders. I was
Spin them up.
right to assume the facility was the first base on the planet at the start of all of this. The lead biologist, Konstantin Hess, found the artificers here more than 30 years ago. But what is truly incredible was that what he discovered they could do. Genetic reprogramming, rewriting RNA and DNA, both in themselves and their local environment. Some Earth cephalopods could rewrite their RNA, but nothing at this scale or detail. The artificers tended to this world, nudging its life into new arrangements. Not only that, but their exoskeletons. They were quantum computers. Silicon wafers of incredible complexity and purity, able to simulate the outcomes of their genetic rewriting. The artificers were housed in natural machines, ones that evolved here over millions of years. Their complexity far outstrips our own. We could have learned so much from them. But Baikal wanted the artificers' abilities for themselves. Something happened. Why are there no artificers left? Why the collapse of these sites? We have to visit the other site. The answers are there. I know it. Yeah, living CRISPR.
Oh, yeah.
Pillar worm. What are you?
It's also that they discovered this 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, like, an arcology isn't just like the first place we found was huge, right? It was. Ellery described it as an arcology, right? Which is not a small structure, I assume. I don't know. Maybe any kind of like self-sustaining structure is an arcology, I suppose. But like, I always think of like, when you use that word, it evokes like the Renraku arcology from Shadowrun, and like the various arcologies from SimCity 2000.
Or from Destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the new Pacific arcology on Titan.
Yeah.
More pillar worms. Thank you for donating your tails, pillar worms. Rattus colony. Yeah, the Tyrell arcology in Blade Runner. Shimmer blooms.
It's only a model.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that thing was only like.
Yep. Huge.
Sea Silk taxonomy entry updated. All right, we got lots of new flavor text. What are you? The Rattus colony is a huge colonial organism made of layers of zooids. Oh, I should take a break, actually. Why don't we take a quick break and then we'll come back and look at all of this?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. We will be back shortly, chat. See you soon. Hey, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry, I coughed a tiny piece of Girl Guide shortbread into my lung. Only one thing to tamp that down with.
You gotta melt it with. Oh, okay. That's. It's implying like hot liquid might do the trick, but no. More cookie. More dust fragments.
Just
Not gonna say who, but someone at some point left like half a lemonade just in the container on the table.
yeah, that was
there
weird.
for a week.
It was there for a week?
Yes.
Huh. So I shouldn't have eaten that then.
Probably safe. I mean, I feel like no one would have touched it within 72 hours of you eating it.
I didn't eat half a Do I look like the kind of person who would eat half a cookie? Honestly.
If it was there.
Do I look like... okay, let me rephrase. Do I look like the kind of person who would leave half a cookie?
No. No.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. The Rattus colony is a huge colonial organism made of layers of zooids, all occupying different roles within its large and complex body. Closer to a living island or iceberg than a creature, Rattus is a free-floating structure which travels across the surface of Gliese 667c's planet-spanning ocean. Trying to observe the patterns of Rattus is a difficult task. I've counted tens of different zooid types flowing in constant movement throughout its cavernous interior. We can assume that they occupy the typical roles of a colonial organism: motility, defense, digestion, and reproduction. But in a colony so vast, many other processes may be happening. Does Rattus have any neural activity? And why does it cling to the remnants of the Baikal lab? Sampling some of the different zooid types may help us understand more about this colony. Sampling the colony's gas bladders has helped us to analyze how Rattus stays afloat. It seems that thousands of these bladders of different sizes both keep Rattus at the surface and hold the fragments of the laboratory in place. These bladders, with their high oxygen content, can be inflated or deflated individually to respond to currents and move Rattus across the ocean. This suggests that Rattus has some way of orchestrating massive changes across its huge volume. In a sense, perhaps Rattus is better thought of as an individual with various specialized organs, rather than a colony, and yet it shows no signs of central intelligence. If I was to discover neural activity within Rattus, could I even understand it? This colony is so alien to our way of understanding the world. Analyzing Rattus's tentacles has shown they possess an ability to secrete metal-digesting substances. The conclusion is that these tentacles are consuming the lab piece by piece, using it to fuel the colony's incredible growth. Perhaps Rattus was once a tiny creature, floating in a biologist's tank. When the facility was breached, Rattus was gifted a near inexhaustible amount of metal to consume, allowing it to grow to its vast size. One day it will eat away the entire structure, its body carrying the shadow of this planet's first human settlement. Sometimes I wish that our marks on Earth could be erased so easily, but the only shadows in our ocean are those of thousands of extinct species we will never regain.
So it's gray goo?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it finds other human settlements to eat. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Do we have a human for scale?
70-meter height.
So us.
Yeah. Or perhaps one of those gas bladders.
Yeah. Segment worms. Pillar worms are long, thin, segmented creatures that live deep in the dark tunnels and recesses of the rock pillars found in the East Reef. They're frustratingly difficult to observe properly due to both their shyness and their surprisingly rapid swimming speed. They can, however, be startled out of their burrows by consistent tapping on the rock. Once glimpsed, it's evident they have striations that taper to a bright, lure-like tail. Their front half is protected with overlapping rigid plates. They also seem to be burrowing or excavating creatures, ejecting dust and sediment periodically from their burrows. Further analysis is required to determine why they live so reclusively within the pillars. Analysis of a pillar worm's chitinous plate shows a creature heavily adapted to its burrowing lifestyle. It seems that the chitinous plates found around the organism's head are precisely grooved, allowing the worm to chip away at existing recesses to create tunnels and funneling the sediment back towards the entrance. These grooves should also help protect the creature's head from abrasions while traversing the burrows. It's logical then that these bugs create the tunnels that other life, especially the silken tendrils in the petal gardens, require. They must be one of the foundations of this unique ecosystem, turning the hard rock pillars into vertical gardens through their obsessive burrowing. Dissection of a pillar worm's tail has shed light on their hunting and feeding behaviors. The tail itself is made from many panels of bright translucent chitin. Given the tail's brightness and the way it waves in a current, it's reasonable to conclude that the worm is using it as a lure. It could be an effective tool for the worm to attract small grazers to a tunnel's mouth with, before pouncing from the burrow and pulling its prey into the hole with it. However, the tail might serve another function too, as a countermeasure against predators. Was this specimen bitten off or willingly ejected? Either way, the pillar worm remains good at hiding its secrets within those dark burrows.
Tell us your secrets!
Oh god, it's a millipede! This isn't a worm, Dr. Vass. This is a centipede.
With feathers for legs.
Ah!
Tunneling limbs.
No, it's Becky. Oh god. Shimmer blooms. Shimmer blooms are single-petaled plants found primarily in the sheltered waters of the East Reef. As they produce As they produce pollen as well as photosynthesize, I have classified the visible portion of these plants as petals, though they could also be thought of as leaves, serving both functions simultaneously. Shimmer blooms can be green like most terrestrial plants, however they can also be found to be yellow, red, or purple in color. The image of a patch of blooms is a beautiful one, and as they shift in the soft currents, they often seem to shimmer. The lower part of their single petal features many small stamens, which produce a fluffy, clumped pollen. Analysis of this pollen may provide some insight into their life cycle. Analysis of a shimmer bloom shoot has revealed a coiled stalk which each shimmer bloom possesses, allowing them to control their height in the water. This means that if a shimmer bloom grows beyond the optimum depth for photosynthesis, it is able to extend its stalk and rise in the water towards the surface. However, due to the constant sunlight, which is an effect of Gliese 667cC's tidally locked orbit, shimmer blooms also use this ability to retract themselves away from the sun in order to protect themselves from cell damage. These beautiful plants are highly attuned to their environment, and I can think of no better species to give Minet's name to. It is a name that deserves to live on in this place. I'm sorry I can't do more. Solcultor Minet.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little like a lily.
Yeah, actually. One more, I think. Sea silk. I was surprised to discover that the sea silk does not end in roots. After finding a damaged strand, I found it emanating from a kind of silken ball that I initially took to be a root. However, in lab analysis, it was revealed to be an entirely separate creature. The sea silk is a product or plant-like limb of this organism. I discovered the root itself to be able to put down, but also retract strands of sea silk from within. It's an unusual fusion of creatures. Is this a symbiotic relation or a parasitic one? Regardless, these curious creatures and their growths are bridge builders of the pillar ecosystem, turning isolated gardens into a connected network and helping them flourish.
Oh.
Neat.
And they shed like crazy.
Ew, yeah. Neat. How's it going, Dr. Vass? What are you working on? She seems to be playing The Sims. Alright, away we go.
Over to the bloom side.
Yeah, although, wait,
Just samples.
just samples. Just
Gonna
sam-
rip out arm off a bee. Or spider. Find a lost arm. You know.
Yeah, find a
Wait.
lost arm. A lost arm. We might have to stand on it and reef real hard. We can find a missing arm. An alien came by and stole my arm. If you retrieve it for me, you can have this gold, and also this green quality pair of boots. Kapew! Okay, so we want to go as far south as we can here.
That's where the arms are found.
And when we do go to the bloom, we'll need to take swim bladders, I guess, because they refill 40% of your oxygen.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the fan dust does pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, the fan dust is good. I forget how much it is. Isn't it like 30? Anyway, we should have some things that will help us, like, survive for longer in the bloom. What are you? A shed feather. Nope. We want the real deal. Only the real McCoy for Dr. Vass here.
Yeah, no trying to distract us with other accessories.
Nope. Only a pure living arm will do. Sample candidate. A creature has left behind one of its delicate arms here. Well, that's convenient.
It's like, hey, over there, that stone pillar. Is that an arm?
A whole ass arm. And
Let's
back
go
to
poke
the...
it with a stick. Do you only need one?
I think so. Should only need one. A feather arm clogged with pollen from the pillar gardens. Show me what a gardener looks like. Analysis of a gardener's arm filled with pinnules has shed some light on the relationship between them and the pillar gardens. The debris coating the sample is actually pollen from various garden species, suggesting that gardeners are an important part of the cross-pollination process. This means their contribution to the ecosystem is not just limited to pruning the blooms, they help propagate them too. Indeed, given their roaming paths from pillar to pillar, they must have some way of communicating and ensuring that no one garden becomes wilted or overgrown. This could be a eusocial hive structure or a territorial signature they leave behind. Either way, they're a well-coordinated team of marine landscape gardeners. Neat.
Huh. Not what I expected.
No, but neat nonetheless.
I expected those, like, mitten crabs, right? The ones that put, like, little anemones in their grabbers.
Yeah.
Wave them around like pom-poms.
Now we go to the bloom. Wait, we should load up on bladders.
The 4 on the right.
Yeah. And then cap sections. I wish you could order these by other criteria.
Oh, I thought you meant, like, for delivery. Like, just send the drone out. I need 5 more swim bladders, please.
Oh, there we go. Mucus bubble. All right, and away we go.
Oh, yeah, we got air for days.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be A-okay here. Just A-okay. Just A-okay. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything is fine. Ah. Pale, delicate fans that feed on the bloom by their filtering it through their bodies using a catalytic dust to counter its toxicity. I'm naming these bloom fans. When we finally get out of this place, I'll update the base's taxonomy logs. There we go.
Ah. Huh.
That's all it took. Fan dust. to create a stable environment in case we need to work somewhere. Further south we go. Toxic waters.
Indeed.
Rocks jet out from the green at strange angles. The rock here is mottled with dark patches as if burned by electrical currents. Weird.
Are we gonna get fried?
I don't know. To the south, the central ridge of the bloom reaches up, disappearing into green clouds of growth, or traveling in this deep in the bloom is like swimming through the interior of a grass-green dome, a vast green dome. And, you know, let's reload here. Om nom 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 nom.
Suck back on some mucus.
Yeah, just crush a mucus like a Capri Sun. Through the green cloud, something bright glows in the dark ahead. Ooh, I like when bright glows in the dark ahead. Tucked into the ridge wall, this bubble is filled with oxygenated water filtered through some unknown microbial process. Strange glittering domes marked with ornate patterns of holes sit in the silt. Whatever inhabited them is long dead. The microbial life of the bloom blankets every surface. What other life can survive in this toxic landscape? Looks like we've been out here before. Yep.
Just somehow we didn't find the chewed-on bones of a research station.
Yeah. Weird. Sphere fragment. These are artificer chunks.
Oh, makes sense.
When their protective bubbles began to fail, these creatures burst from their nests to repair them, swarming out to weave more threads. Protected by the sheer wall of the bloom's central ridge, these open nests flutter with the movement of their swarms. Splitting the bloom, this vast ridge descends to the north where it may be possible to cross. Sample candidate. Alright, more delicious mucus. Nest workers. Alright, we can get across here. Or
Yeah, it looks like they've done the old Metroid and blocked us from progressing with technology that we need to acquire.
yeah. I guess we should head back and taxonomize.
Is our bag full? We've got so many bladders.
Yeah, to explore with.
Yeah. Like, if the inventory is full, just crush a bladder.
It's true. Because there was no way south from there. But it looked like we hadn't been to the east yet. Like we hadn't been out here. The bloom is blindingly thick here, though to the southwest something glows between the microbial clouds. Oh, it looks like it wants us to... I think we were supposed to come through here another way.
Oh,
No? Okay, well, there's still unexplored nodes out here. Nothing but sharp rocks and green water. Because, like, it seemed that we should have been able to get through there, right? It told us that there was a... that it looked like there was a path through, but I couldn't see it.
was there a down?
Oh, there might have been a down. You're right. Yes, there might have... We should have been able to dive. I'm very smart. Oh wait, it was through here, wasn't it? I'm just very, very smart. Was there a dam, though? No.
Bummer.
Vast Ridge descends to the north. Oh, to the north it may be possible to cross. Okay. Because there was... Just having ourselves a little bladder as a treat. Yeah. No? Okay.
Huh. Promising?
Mm-hmm. Scattered debris. Minet clearly tried to establish a base here, but wasn't able to resist the bloom. Why here so deep in this toxic landscape?
Oh.
Silt has gathered in wide drifts around the remains of Minet's makeshift base. What was she looking for here? In the shadow of the ridge, the water here is still and clearer than elsewhere in the bloom. Among the rocks, the twisted remains of some equipment most likely brought here by Minet lies oxidized and caked in growth. New things. Bloom froth. Dark green bubbles that foam in the most dense areas of the bloom where there's little current to provide water flow. We won't get much from observing this stuff. I've logged the species. Let's analyze the samples back at base.
Imagine just being froth.
That would be strange.
Like sea foam on the waves.
Yeah. If there's anything to be found here, I'm just wandering blindly in this green desert. A froth of green bubbles lies around the edge of the hole. We should be able to sample them here. Ooh, sample. Free samples. Just like at the grocery store. And then a way down. Oh, wait, we should probably, like, crush a bladder.
Oh. Yeah, before our mom has to come pick us up.
silk gathers against the side of the central ridge, which stretches up into the blinding green. Okay, so we know there's a way down here. Let's head down there. Maybe there's a contact point or some kind of like thing that we can get to.
Yeah, or worst case, it goes to the other hole that's across the canyon.
But there is a door here. Curved walls streaked with cascades of green bubbles, all glassy and sickly green in the light of the suit's headlamp. Sam, please. This is what we were looking for. Corroded into the tunnel mouth, the seal is stuck fast. The only way through would be to cut straight through. Well, luckily, it's sealed shut. Let's slice it open. This has to be one of the other Baikal facilities. We're hacking the door.
Yep. Just our big brain to get through.
Choked with rock and sand, the metal chamber is deathly still. The angular shapes of industrial machinery lie in wait. Color change. Menacing. The pillars which stretch up towards the cavernous roof of the chamber are warped and distorted, barely able to hold the weight. Hulking machines built for industrial use sit covered in a fine layer of sand and growth. This was a place where people worked. I imagine this was once a sealed tube stretching from floor to ceiling, but now it is just a round, ragged hole in the metal floor. Half of the rock ceiling above the chamber seems to have come down at once, burying most of the room. Oh. Thingies. Thingies.
Oh.
Look, that tank, it's filled with microbial growth. What was this place? Be careful, the water will be just as toxic as it is above in the bloom. This dark hole in the floor is spewing out the same microbial clumps as seen in the bloom above. They settle around the vent in layers. Well, before we head there, let's check out other parts of this floor.
Before we descend into the abyss.
The briny abyss. Nope, nothing.
Oh. That central vent here.
I like it when my vents are central. Angular plates piled with sand are all that remains of the rooms and structures that divided up this level of the facility. Whether it was a control room or a storage shed, this room has been totally crushed by the facility's collapse. The shell of some corroded maintenance vehicle is flooded with sand, its top a garden of microbial growth. This side of the vast tank has been corroded away, melted by the incredibly dense volume of microbes inside it. Baikal containers marked now with dull yellow biohazard tape. What were they shipping into this facility? Let's look. This is no lab, this is an industrial facility. These containers must have carried some vital resource for its operation. Fuel, perhaps?
My kingdom for an audio log.
How have you ever thought that? This side of the vast tank. Okay. Wait, did I say ventral scent instead of central vent?
No.
Okay. Let's get out of here. and see if there's anything else on this floor. Nope. Deep, deep, deep.
Whoa,
Bigger.
bigger than before.
These tank walls were breached with explosive force, the remains corroding away over the decades that followed that violent act. How did this towering metal container split apart so violently? An accident or something more? The oldest and largest microbial colonies lie here, translucent, made from millions upon millions of microbes. The lamps, the old growth, this is where the bloom began.
Yay! Whoa!
Spicy. This is no native microbe, it's lab-grown, built to convert light into power and oxygen. A vast microbial fuel cell designed to thicken the atmosphere of this planet, no doubt. But when it breached containment, I'm surprised anything still lives on this planet. Oh god, it must have been devastating. Let's just have a quick look around here.
Yeah.
These banks of consoles must have controlled the operations within the tank. Are we clear? Looks like it.
Oh,
Laudio Og! The tank stands in a huge hall, its pipes leading off into the dark. This facility was not built to study this planet, but to change it. These wide pipes look to have been connected to the hall's tank. They must have controlled the outflow of whatever was produced here. These pipes,
a
those
clue.
tanks, this facility was outputting huge volumes of something into the planet's atmosphere. This has to have been a geoengineering project, a way of changing Gliese 667cc. But looking at this place, it suffered a total collapse. What went wrong? R. Ingram. Maintenance on the South Hall is continuing. I'm seeing a massive pressure spike here. Control? Scannywans. Plumes of green microbial froth pour from the breach tank. Or did Baikal bring them here? More bubbles. A tall passage between the two halls of the facility. This place must have been impressive when it was in full operation. Central tank has held back the sand and rock, but it leans unsettlingly forward into the hall. Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Counter.
All right. The connection between this console and the tank is sliced clean through. Is this what stopped it from breaching? A rising wall of sand leans heavily against the tank, burying tons of equipment and who knows what else beneath its slopes. Audio log. L. Youngs. Yes, sir. Atmospheric density is increasing ahead of schedule. Please inform the board. They will be pleased. Oh, the board! A large access hatch to the floor above lies open, its central ladder corroded into a twisted, rusting spine. Okay, another way out that doesn't depend on going through the bloom.
So that must be towards the other hole.
Yeah. Because we can't call for pickup here. Between the overhanging tank and the buckled, twisted walls, a clear corridor leads forward. Crushed by the rockfalls, broken open containers reveal rich patches of microbial growth like miniature gardens. Audio log. K. Hello. Control? I'm slicing it before it cascades. Clear the reactor chamber. The bacterial outflow is about to hit.
Oh.
A row of corroded consoles wired up to an umbilical connection which has been cut away. Sand-dusted chair props up the remains of a suit, the faceplate clouded with rich green growth. Ooh. Grody.
Go up that side tunnel.
Yeah, let's go up the side tunnel. The one up here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just before we do this, tiny workers. Okay, the bloom bubbles can give us a little bit of oxygen. Oh, sphere fragments can also give us quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna be fine. The rows of sand-choked desks, rusted consoles, and dim monitors make it clear this was the facility's control room. C. Hess, this is the director. No,
Yeah.
no, oh god, the tank is breached. The artificers, I didn't mean...
Oh, and welcome for that raid, engineering and crew.
Hey, welcome, Plaid Posse. Here, this is where they controlled this place once. They were changing this planet, manipulating it. These vast tanks of engineered microbes were their tools. Algae changed the atmosphere of Earth billions of years ago. These creatures were meant to do the same. But by accident or sabotage, this containment was breached. These idiots, they could have killed every last species on this planet. Eaten up in a global bloom. Somehow the reef survived. Somehow the stocks held on, tried to revert our mistake. Humans don't deserve this planet. We didn't deserve to find life. I've seen enough. Scan what's left and I'll take a look back at base. Let's find a way out of here. Constantine, what are you... Step away from the console. Sorry. The control room's evacuation hatch hangs open, piles of rock and sand all around. Despite the cave-ins, this console is surprisingly pristine, a cup sitting beside one of the monitors where it was placed decades before. We are doing the artificers a favor. Despite all of their abilities, they couldn't manifest this kind of planetary change. Couldn't or didn't? Couldn't or chose not to. This is why no one escaped the facility. The tunnel is sealed, the control room's escape route cut off.
Fire it up.
Sealed at both ends, this corridor is pristinely preserved. The Baikal decal is still visible on the gleaming walls.
A really good seal on that door.
Yeah. A second seal locks off the corridor at the other end. They made sure no one would escape. The tunnel leads out into a small shelf overlooking a rift, discreetly cut into the rock. Back in the open water, the current at this end of the rift softly pushes against the suit.
Probably gonna make us go up from here. Oh,
Yeah,
no?
find a passageway up, I think. That makes sense. There it is. Okay, we probably need to find, like...
Well, can the drone pick us up?
Not yet. We need to ascend. Now we can get picked up. Let's... Where does this connect to? To the north, green clouds rise up, the familiar sight of the bloom that surrounds the shelf and the facility below it. Behind the pillars, the reef's strong currents are lessened, making a small sheltered stretch of water on the side of the rift. Okay, we have been here before. Oh, this is the rift that leads to the bloom. The bloom is up here, and this is where we... Yeah. Okay, so we can get picked up here. I know where we are. Yeah, this was the first locked area that we needed the bloom to get across. Online again? I've been digging through what we discovered at the facility. What they did here, it's terrible. They could have wiped out life on this planet. Baikal should have known better than to mess with the entire planet's ecosystem. The failure of the facility was catastrophic. The bloom dominated half of the planet. As far as I can tell, it wiped out the artificers. Think about those skeletons in the bloom. But the rest of the planetary ecosystem reacted somehow, resisted, pushed the bloom back. Based on what we found at Site 1, the artificers must have had a role in this. Their final act? An attempt to prepare this world for the catastrophe Baikal unleashed. They died for this planet, and you are all that survives them. Well, perhaps not all. I keep seeing the same thing mentioned in the data, the same term appearing in the fragments, the oceanic mind. As far as Baikal were concerned, you were just the beginning, the first mind. The artificers were the key, inscrutable creatures with a quiet power. Able to simulate, predict, then able to change. They could rewrite life itself. For Baikal, the opportunity this provided was clear. While the artificers were like gardeners, caretakers of this world, Baikal imagined something else. An oceanic mind, providing total control of the ecosystem, able to enact their will. That's what they were building when the colony collapsed, and it is still out there. In the deep, powered by the heat of hydrothermal vents, the oceanic mind sleeps. I want to see it for myself. We have to know how all this ended. I've marked the approximate position on the map, way out to the north, deep in the abyss. Let me know when you are ready to see this through. Ooh, endgame.
Yeah.
A huge colony sampled from Site 2 beneath the bloom.
Would you want to take another break and then head out?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's finish all of this sampling, And then... there they are. I thought we finished the taxonomy on those guys, but I guess not. Neat. Okay. We'll go and head out after this. Oh, we've even got a new log. Okay, we'll be back in 5 minutes. See you shortly, chat. Hello. I've returned.
And I as well.
Hooray. So we have, Dr. Vass's second to last, apparently, log entry. 2216, Ellery Vass. I was born on Earth. Born in the city of Ponta Delgada, out in the Atlantic among the turquoise waters and green slopes of the Azores. My father was studying the dying waters, chasing the last known pod of sperm whales to record a final fading image of their impossible spatial language before it was lost forever. My mother was a journalist writing a book on citizen scientists that never found a publisher. We lived there, and all along the Atlantic coast of Europe for almost a decade before life became impossible, the storms tearing into the tidal walls, flooding city after city, clothes twisted in foaming water. We joined the latest wave of refugees, found ourselves beside the Thames, resettled in London. From that privileged viewpoint, I watched our oceans die, and then my parents too. And at some point, once I'd left that sad gray planet behind on a string of Baikal contracts, I forgot that turquoise water ever existed. You were born here, and maybe here, things can be different. In the observation blister, huh?
Huh.
All right. Shall we head out?
Yee.
The deep vents. That's scary sounding. Was there anything else? Doesn't appear to be. We still don't have the taxonomy for the little workers. We don't know what they are yet.
The gardeners?
No, the little guys that create stable environments in the brine. We're almost at the hydrothermal vents. 3 kilometers down, this has to be close to the suit's range. I can hear the plates creaking. Somehow we are maintaining 1 atmosphere of pressure inside the hard suit. If we make it back up, we'll be setting a strong first record for deep dives on Gliese 667cc. There's almost nothing in the water column here, no life to speak of. But the oceanic mind should be somewhere ahead. That's our target. Whatever monster Baikal left us, I'm ready. Let's find it. Layered within a wispy fog of oceanic ooze, the darkness of the plain is absolute. Streaks of iron ore have accrued across the seafloor, the mark of nearby hydrothermal activity. There's not enough oxygen down here to use the rebreather, so I am on reserves. The survey data we pulled shows the vents running north from here along a ridge. Keep moving, we haven't got long. Edges of volcanic rock poke through the sediment, black strips against the bright mineral and metal ores. A soft drift of sediment flakes catch in the suit's lamps, falling from the venting fluid as it spreads into the waters above.
Oh.
Black plumes of fluid rise from a crystalline chimney discolored with yellow sulfur streaks. Incredible, look at these things. I remember reading about the discovery of hydrothermal vents on Earth centuries ago. Donnelly, Corliss, and Van Andel, 3 geologists. They never expected to find life in that eternal darkness. And yet there it was, whole ecosystems we never knew were there, totally independent of the sun's light. They were imagined to be models of alien ecosystems, life in its most extreme forms, but until this planet that proved to be false, to all of humanity the universe was dead. Damn Baikal for keeping this place from us, for keeping humanity in the dark. Bone-pale sand mounds surround the chimneys like great piles of cremation ash.
Bet that place smells amazing.
Towering pale spires shimmer with the intense heat of the vents as chemicals are pumped into the water from deep within the planet. We're going to need to find some way of refilling our oxygen. Rich in minerals, the black plumes of the vents tower over us, fading into the black of the ocean above. The overhang shimmers with trapped gases, reflecting the twisted shapes of strange dead creatures at the spire's base. I don't understand. Where's the life? This ecosystem is totally barren. All these minerals, nutrients, heat, and nothing feeding off of it. How can this be? Could it just be this vent? Let's keep looking. Mounds of gray rocks sit in a bed of pale talc sand, evidence of ancient volcanic processes. The intense heat of the vents quickly fades off as it mixes with the cold seawater. What was over here, though? Away from the center of the cluster of collapsed chimneys and pillow lava create a landscape of stratified shapes. Close to the vent, masked by the shimmering water, I can see the shapes of a distorted creature long dead. What is that? Ooh, let's find out.
Ah.
Okay, this is just the other way around.
To the east.
Out of sight of the vents, hidden in the dark, the heavy silence of the seafloor returns. Eons of sediment blanket the seafloor, so pale.
It would be so soft.
Yeah. The artificial mind Akari was building down here. What was the end goal? Was Baikal hoping to control this whole ecosystem? An entire planet agriculture attuned to feed their needs, an ecology manipulated by the possibility of genetic rewriting, a power stolen from the artificers, an enslaved planet like Earth. I now know why Minnie was secretive. She knew that if they found this place again, that would be it for all life here. Another vent chimney where all that life should thrive on. Where's all the life that should thrive on the rich fluid which blackens the water? Strange tiered and curved rocks sit all around, distorted by tectonic processes and stained with mineral growth. The surfaces around this vent are thick with sediment. Another barren vent. This place has been wiped clean. Something is wrong here. What did they do? Around the space of the vents, gas bubbles stream out of cracks, forming pillars which glitter beautifully in the suit's lights. The bleached sand is almost perversely clean. No life has marked its surface in decades. Another spire sits at the edge of the cluster, filling the water with blackened fluid like a lightless bonfire. What is that? Here away from the vents, piles and piles of distorted corpses lie, their whorled bones dusted with pale sediments. Oh god, look at these creatures. The bodies, it looks like progressive ossification. The muscles have become bone. Their mutations are extreme, like cancerous growths. There's no structure to their anatomy. The mind, is this what it made? These senseless monstrosities? The corpses become a mass of undifferentiated matter with the occasional shape of a bone or shell like a tooth growing inside a tumor. A vast organic sphere towers over the corpses, its ornate geodesic patterns mirroring those of the artificers. The mind, it's huge. But it's silent. It's been silent for decades. This is no cradle of life, it's a grave. Did they fail? Is this all that's left? A broken mind lying in a bed of corpses? They had no idea what they were doing. The arrogance of all of this. A whole ecosystem boiled down to nothing. The artificers lost to us. These are Baikal's crimes, Akari's crimes. What a waste. Is there nothing left? We should look inside. A vast ornate structure grown in the Baikal labs. It's broken and dead on the seafloor. Its interior, a dark cavern. We're very, very close to our crush depth.
Oh.
Deep inside the oceanic mine, something flickers in the ruins. A small but ornate geodesic exoskeleton lies in the silt inside the artificer, shifts and reforms with a rhythmic consistency. Is it alive? Hello? Is that an artificer? It survived. Or it was born here? Does that mean there are more? It looks dormant. Is it even alive? Wait, do you hear that? It's singing. I can feel... It knows. It knows what we are. And it is afraid. I understand why. Look what humans did here. I'm sorry. Wait, no. Come back. It's gone. We should be going to. We're running down our oxygen and it's a long way back up. Come on, there's nothing left for us here. I was not expecting it. Honestly, if... Okay, time to go. I'm beginning the ascent. So they are still out there, the artificers. This is their planet, and we owe them so much. I suppose it's your planet too, with the mine being a failure, the colony destroyed. You are its last artifact, born here. And now, this is my home too, mine and Manea's. There's so much left for me to do, so much to study, so much to understand. Our history here, it is ugly. It's something I don't want to be a part of. But this planet's future, maybe we can have a part in that. Manea gave everything for the truth. Some residual part of the artificers changed her, but I hope she knows that she succeeded. This place is no longer a secret, no longer Baikal's to control. Thank you, Manea. And thank you, to you, for staying with me, for guiding me. Together I think we can make a change, show humanity Baikal's crimes, make them accountable. We both carry burdens here, but the past doesn't define us. Life continues here despite everything that happened. I can find comfort in that. I think I'm going to stay. I don't have anything left out there. But here I have Monet, I have you, and I have a purpose. Someone needs to swim these waters to catalog this world. When I was little, I swam every day. I would walk down to the ocean and step into it without a thought. I lost that degree by degree as Earth's oceans died, but here things can be like that once again. These waters can wash all the old ways away, and together we will see what's left when they do. Oh, did we get the bad ending?
Is there a good ending? Like,
I don't know.
I felt like a bad ending. I was like, we're gonna get back to base. There's gonna be like 20 Baikal dudes there, and everyone's just gonna be dead.
Yeah.
Monet would be on fire. Like,
Yep. I don't know. Like, I was expecting. There is an after credits? Okay. Because in the trailer, there's this line that says, "In other waters, our children drown." And I was kind of expecting to run into whatever said that. Like, yeah. I feel like we may have missed something. But yeah, like I mean, it definitely feels like we had a good time, or not a good time, but like a
long
hopeful,
time.
it's a hopeful ending.
I don't know. It's just gonna be like this desolate planet covered in algae, with this one scientist bebopping around, being like, "I will study the fish for
Yeah.
no purpose other than the pursuit of science."
Hmm. 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 Because we also like didn't even get the there was a journal entry we didn't get. Really? Here?
Yeah. Maybe we can call the drone?
Apparently not.
Ah, the Maricat has linked us to an ebook
Oh, okay.
that is DLC for the game. Has the epilogue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have the ebook, but I hadn't looked at it yet. Because I didn't want to, like... It says at the beginning there's, you know, read this after you finish the game. Hopefully there's a place where we can call for pickup.
Uh,
Nope.
end of the line.
I guess we die here.
Decided to stay here forever.
Okay, interesting. Uh, yeah, what do we think? I mean, I
Well,
found
it just oozes style, which is
absolutely.
always good.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I felt like they basically succeeded in everything they wanted to do.
Yeah. Like it's a fascinating premise. It's an incredibly detailed environment. It's thoughtful, well written, um, and as you say, incredibly stylish. And it feels like it has strong bones, right? Like structural bones, I guess, right? Like as an adventure game or an exploration game, right? But it's fundamentally like a story that you're exploring this ocean and unlocking. Your rewards are, or your mission structures to find all of the animals. And you learn about them. You get to find out all about them. And we missed, I think, one sample. I guess in order to get that get the post credit sequence. What is in the post credit sequence, chat? I can't watch YouTube here, or I shouldn't watch YouTube on a stream. But if somebody is familiar with it, could you tell me what happens? It's just like this game could have been made in like 1980, right, as a text adventure, and I find that really interesting. I don't know what to make of that yet.
Well, like it, text adventure's an active
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. It's an ongoing genre, right? Like would use twine, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So you only get
There's like interactive fiction groups and things like that deal with specifically adventure games like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe it's something we can look at in the future. But next week we'll be tackling a short hike, right?
Yes.
Looking forward to it. Um, but yeah, like it's fundamentally like an ecological message. I was hoping for like, I don't know, a bit more revelation about what had happened here. Right?
Yeah. Or more interaction with like Monet and things that Monet specifically left, like if there were messages or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Felt like our character was inferring a lot of stuff about other characters' intent.
Agreed. Agreed. But I mean, this is also a problem I run into with my own RPGs where I'm just like, yeah, that's the end. Bye. So there's still a lot of like mystery here and a lot of threads that can be picked up, I feel. If the developer ever wanted to come back and explore this world again. But it's also a good, like, I suppose this is a fine place to leave off if you have to leave anywhere, right? You discover the failure of the oceanic mind, that the thing they wanted to build.
You don't even get to make a choice at the end.
No.
I guess like your choice is to get the information. It's not like, we need to plug the AI into the big robot brain to restart the thing good or something like that. Like you can't express a preference for how things turned out.
No. Hmm.
And I wanted to see some like big shark or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like we got that huge uh uh the Radis, right?
Yeah,
Which was cool. But I wanted to see like whatever the gardeners were camouflaging themselves from.
right. Like just imagine some massive whale creature or something. There's,
Hmm.
there's something about like being next to something that's alive that's of an order of magnitude larger than you.
Yeah, I suppose like we are the AI, not not the scientist, but we have been pretty much in control, right? Like there is the argument that says like, well, we don't really have a lot of agency because we're this thing that's along for the ride. Well, Dr. Vass tells us where to go. But that also isn't true because we are, as players, in control of what Dr. Vass is doing. Right? Like she offers relatively little agency
Yeah.
in terms of things. She's not giving us orders to carry out. Right? We're controlling the suit. And we
And a lot of the game is primarily just observation, which is something the AI is completely capable of doing.
mhm. And also, like, we don't get to use that yes no function at all. Well, not at all. There's one point where I think she asks us if we're okay with the name Oki, which is what Mane's mother named us. Um, and we get to say yes or no to it. Um, but I think it would be interesting to have like other conversations with Dr. Vass. I don't know. Maybe I'm being hard on it. I really like this game, like a lot. Um, there are others, but it's easy to not notice the text popping up. Yeah, like there were other things too, like the fact that each node has a description, but when you moved that node and when you're on the process of moving to it, it vanishes so that you can't read it because in a lot of situations you're on kind of like, you know, your meters are ticking down and you don't know how
Yeah,
much time you have, right? So like there's all this wonderful text that you feel a pressure not to read.
which I kind of like from like an emotional standpoint. Like there
Mhm.
are timed text games made in Twine where it's
Right.
like you don't even have time to read before we have to make a decision.
Mm. Hmm. But here I feel like a lot of the draw is that that observation of the environment and having to make a choice between like dying or being able to look at it, right? Because that text is presented in game as notes that Dr. Vass has taken, right? So presumably if she has time to like do those observations and write them down, right? You'd think us as the AI of her suit would have time to read them. But overall, like I'm happy with the game. But I just have a couple of notes for it, right? Or I
Yeah,
at least like to be able to ask those questions about why certain choices were made. But I suppose we should read subs.
to it.
Okay. Um,
Let's start with Olveron for 23 months.
Giant Alien Spider was gifted a sub thanks to the Maricat. Thank you.
It was really funny when that popped up. I almost laughed. McArg, 43 months.
Canoe Crasher came back for the 33rd month saying, "Hey Cam, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you."
Ratus Gamer, subscribe thanks to the Maricat.
Thank you, Maricat. Mistaline came back for the 34th month. Always love a cam stream. Sorry I missed you going live today. See you in the VOD.
Elinado, 71 months. Thank you.
Mia's Board came back for the 36th month. Happy 3-year anniversary.
Fracaswell, 82 months. That's a large number of months.
Indeed. Wow, 82. Io Otter came back for the 55th month. Thank you. Yeah, anything else? Like, hmm. Hmm. What else do I want to say about it? How does this why did I like this? I mean, it's very imaginative. It's very stylish. I like the characters. But
The conflict isn't like RPG battles.
yes, yeah, exactly. Like I honestly really like the perspective of going with the dive suits AI because it gives you this sense not quite of detachment, but of like I think things like the gardeners would be really gross and scary to a human viewer,
Yeah,
right?
it'd be Subnautica. It would just be like horrifying.
Yeah, but when they're blips on a sonar, you know, they're a thing that you can study kind of with like delight, even, right? Because Dr. Vass, as a oceanic scientist, um, probably looks at this stuff and is like, "Oh, that's really cool," right? The way that entomologists study bugs, right? Like I always think of those guys in Silence of the Lambs playing chess with insects, and like
Yeah.
really gross ones too, like cockroaches and beetles. But just they're little animals, right? They're not scary at all. And I imagine that she's a lot like that, right? She can look at a giant ocean spider and be like, "Oh, it's so pretty," whereas most of us would be like, "Ah, hit it with a shovel." Um,
Have you ever watched like marine biologist live streams?
no.
Because like they book time on one of the dive robots, and then they're all like in a group call commenting on stuff, and they'll be like, "Oh no, back up, back up! I thought I saw something cute." And it's just like this grotesque squid or something, or just like a little floaty ball.
Right,
But
right.
they get really excited about it. They try to get a good shot of it, and then they move on to the next thing.
What was the BBC documentary series after Planet Earth, the one that was about the oceans?
Blue Planet.
Blue Planet, I guess. But yeah, I remember watching an episode of that, and Richard Attenborough's narrating it. He'll show like a little bit of footage of some ocean critter and describe it. Be like, "Oh, this little fellow is doing this," and he was doing that, and then it shows this, uh, like 10 seconds of footage of like I don't know what the hell it is, but it's just in the ocean flapping around, and there's no narration whatsoever. Right? It's just like, and then there's this fucking thing.
Sea flap flap. Yeah.
Next critter, right? Like just this absolutely like stunned silence as this grotesque monster like flaps around. And it's not even like that ugly or that it's not even scary, right? But it's like this baffled silence that I really appreciated. Um okay. Any other thoughts? Hmm. Hmm. I think that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Like I appreciated the richness of the experience and the sense of the world. Um,
There's
get
like no ambiguity about the moral or ethical like point.
yeah, yeah. It's completely unambiguous. It's not like, well, maybe Baikal had some good points, and then you have to choose the blue lever or the red lever, right? Like, are we going to go corporate or are we going to go renegade? And no, right? She's like, what they did here was evil. And you're
Ah,
like,
look,
yeah,
desiccated corpses. Lovely, lovely, yes.
yeah, like it. I do like that. There's no pretense of like a BioWare morality system where you get to make the decision over whether what they did here was good or bad or where you're going to come down on it.
Yeah, unable to load was like, how would you rate it on like a scale of Detroit Become Human to Disco Elysium? And it's just like those games technically have some ambiguity.
Yeah. Well, like the in Disco Elysium, um, Disco Elysium's thing is asking what kind of cop are you, and it never gives you the choice of opting out of being a cop. Like you can be a bad cop, or you can be bad at being a cop by being empathetic and uh, 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 not authoritarian. And Kim will be like, I don't know. I don't think apologizing is a good way to go forward here, right?
Or you can just do all the drugs.
Yeah, you can do all the drugs and be like a fascist cop, which is also a bad cop, but you don't get to opt out of being a cop in um, Disco Elysium, right? Because even if you're bad at being a cop, people still see you as being a cop, right? They still interact with you like that. Even if you go full communist, Yosef is like, nah, dude, sorry. You don't. You are one of them, and you will always be one of them. You can't opt out of that. Like, you've chosen a path when you started on this career. Right? Like, yeah, you're not one of my comrades. Uh, Sorry, that kind of came out of nowhere.
I was just trying to think of how to like compare, because Detroit doesn't really give you a choice on who you're going to be. It's like whether or not you think any of your characters that you're playing are people or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because you're like two helpers and a cop,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be like a very effective murder machine. You can wear skin or not. Uh, you can decide whether or not it's okay to just shoot people.
Yeah, yeah. I did really appreciate the video someone sent me of Connor waking up. Oh God, who's your partner detective?
Hank.
Hank. When you visit Hank's house and he's passed out on the floor and you have to like, slap him around and splash him with water in order to wake him up. And it was just like Connor like slapping Hank around a little bit and he would wake up and immediately just like drill him in the forehead and knock him unconscious again and then slap him back awake.
Yes.
And I think it was also set to the Wii Store music.
Boop, ba-doop, boop, 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 boop,
Boop.
boop.
Ah, good times. Oh. Oh, I miss the moral clarity of playing Detroit Become Human. I don't miss playing it, but God, it was good to just be mad at something. Oh, Beowulf Bjornsson has resubbed for the 69th month. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, indeed. The Noise Boys are going to be in next, playing
Oh.
more Dead Space Rooney.
Yeah, I understand that most of space is dead.
Or full of zombies.
Yes, who are also dead. I should play Dead Space. I own it and I was playing it and I got to the point in the game where you started recognizing where the monster spawn points were. And I would go up to them and look at them, look inside and be like, "Yep, no monsters." Go over, pull the lever for the room, and they would be full of monsters all of a sudden.
I like, because I have been editing the highlight videos, and so I've seen a bunch of the highlight moments, which is kind of like cool design things that the game does, where it's like there's a corpse jiggling on the ground, and that's because it's being used as camouflage by one of the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Or it'll be like, this is what happens if you step on this gravity panel, and it'll smush you against the ceiling.
Right, right. I think I've seen that clip.
Yeah.
And yes, I have played Alien Isolation, and I didn't like it.
I also didn't like it, but
Like-
I think I just found the synths really, really terrifying and hard to deal with.
Like it was stylish as hell. It's a gorgeous game, and like the design of the environments, they nailed the style, and the premise of the game is not bad. I just don't like hiding in a box for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Well, the cool part of
Just
the
to
game.
have them like find you, and
Yeah.
then you have to watch yourself getting choked out.
Yep. Like, I don't know how to make a game I want to play in the Alien universe, because the Alien should be the absolute. Right? And it's not that the gameplay is slow, it's that I don't like stealth games, I think. And a lot of Alien Isolation also felt like a puzzle game where you would have to like lure the alien into one room and then surreptitiously move to a different one and then leave it there. And it like there was one part I remember with like 3 rooms that was essentially playing like a first person Towers of Hanoi puzzle.
Oh yeah, and that just puts you in control over all of the threats.
Mm-hmm. And I also didn't like the crafting system, which I thought was kind of unnecessary. Uh, but otherwise, like, the game was gorgeous. I really wanted to play in that environment, and I understand there's a patch you can get that is just like a tourism patch that
Yes.
turns off the alien. So that seems interesting to me, and I might play around with that. But like, hiding in lockers is not interesting gameplay for me.
Yeah, I was trying to think. There's those two oh, is it Amnesia? Like Dark Descent and Machine for Pigs. Kind
Right.
of the same game premise where you like you get spooked and hide in a cupboard, and I'm like, I don't like feeling like this.
Yeah. And like, first person in horror is like the idea of being helpless before the alien is quite good, right? Because you are. And I just
But there's ways that like Resident Evil does it
Mm-hmm.
that work really well, and then there's like being first person with your view completely restricted.
Yeah. Like, you should not have a whole lot of options against the alien. But just hiding from it for like that game is also like what, 8 hours long? I feel that's too long for that kind of game.
Right, especially since they have to like escalate the challenge constantly.
Mm-hmm.
They do it again with like locking doors that you have to like cut through very tediously.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, I remember hacking through a door at one point and it was like this mini game. And I kind of checked out at that point, where I'm like, ah, a QuickTime event.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably wrap up here. And I want to thank everyone for joining us as we played Another Waters. I really enjoyed it, despite some misgivings. I enjoyed like 94% of this game quite thoroughly. And the ending isn't even bad, right? It's not thematically inappropriate, and it's not like... I just wanted more, right? I wanted this game to be like half an hour longer.
Get to start up the Genesis project or something. Just something cool.
Yeah. Even just give me like a page of notes afterwards, right? Like, give me the Alpha Centauri ending, where it's like, and then this happened.
Like the Baldur's Gate NPC readouts at the end. It's just like, and Monet continued to dissolve into plant life.
Yeah, yeah. Or give me the Annihilation ending.
Where everyone's back home and it's fine.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you, Corey, for joining me remotely today.
Welcome.
We'll be back next week with a short hike. The boys will be here in 45 minutes to play more Dead Space, and yeah, we'll catch you in the future. Have a good one, everyone.
Yep.